here we are looking at the pound Aussie, right? GBP Australian dollar. And this is actually a trade idea that I called out last night around 10:30 in our enlightened signals. If you are looking at this curriculum, then you should obviously have the VIP access, which includes the enlightened signals. So if you guys are not in the enlightened signal service, then reach out to the nearest admin in the Discord, or feel free to reach out to us in our contact form and reach out to the customer service, which can be found on the homepage under contact us. And I wanted to go over what made me not only take this position, but also call it, right? And it's because utilizing the very concepts in the previous video of the power of 3, right? And in the previous video, I told you that by getting a hold of the power of 3 cycle, right, you'll be able to have anticipatory skills and being able to determine where price is going to go, right? But when we're talking about price expansion and anticipating price, right? Talking about price expansion, we're talking about anticipating price. You have to be able to anticipate two things, right? One, you have to be able to anticipate the intent and anticipate the extent, right? And by intent, we mean direction. And by extent, we mean range. So it's good to be able to anticipate or predict where the market is about to go, but then you want to be able to anticipate how far the market is going to go. Here I had an initial position of 56 pips. Let's see if we can see that one. I had an initial position of 56 pips and the second position of 106 pips. And we are actually about to smack TP2. All right. We blew through TP1, TP2, right? I anticipated this large expansion down, right? And by large expansion, I mean relative to the candlestick bodies, right? Because at the time when I came and actually, I didn't have any alerts set here on GBPR or anything like that. I opened up MC4 and I came here and the market was around this area right here, right? So looking at the bigger picture, right, of where price is, what really caught my attention was this consolidation after this pretty decent displacement to the upside, right? And we're talking about a move of what, 250 pips in about half a day. All right. So what caught my attention for real was not only this consolidation after this large displacement to the upside, but these small candlesticks, right? These small candlesticks. Now, a lot of people who have a retail conceptualization of price action in the market and candlesticks and candlestick patterns, and those who use that, they would deem these candlesticks, right, doji candles, right, graveyard, hammers, right, or maybe even some people may consider them to be indecision candles. But honestly, what these candlesticks are, right, these candlesticks are simply small body candles, right? These small body candles are just sessions of contraction. And then larger body candles are sessions of expansion. And it's important to note that smaller body candles precede larger body expansions. Small body candles represent sessions of contraction, and larger body candles represent sessions of expansion. So what do I mean by this? When we say smaller body candles, these are what we're referring to, okay? And when we say small body candles, we are not taking into consideration, right? These are sessions of contraction, not taking into consideration the wicks. We're not taking the wicks into consideration. Get this right. All right. So we are not worried about the wicks, okay? We're not worried about the wicks, right? Because essentially, right, the way that candlesticks are taught in the way that we know, right, is that, let's say we have a bullish candle here, right? And then we say we have a top wick, make this solid. Let's say we have another wick here on the bottom. Right? The way that a lot of people would view a candle, right? Let me actually make this kind of like the candles that we're looking at, right? So say we have a small body candle, right? And then we have a wick. Right? A lot of people would say that this is indecision because the way that we were taught candles, right, is that bullish candles mean that there are more buyers in this session. So we have a we have a large wick at the top and a large wick at the bottom, right? And you have a small body candle. That just means that neither buyers nor sellers really could take control of that session. And that's a good way to conceptualize it and think about it, right? But essentially, honestly, what these wicks are is that even on a smaller time frame, it's just the clearing of liquidity on both sides. So they're clearing buy side liquidity and they're clearing sell side liquidity. Because honestly, what candles are, or what we really should just be focused on is the open and the close. So when we're taking into consideration price expansion, right, and we're looking to anticipate market moves, and we're looking at contracting candles, right, or contracting sessions, we just want to take into account the relationship between the open and the close. All right. That's all. This is all that we really want to worry about. All we're worried about is the open and the close of candles. All right. We're not worried about the wicks. We're not worried about the wicks. We're just worried about the actual relationship between the open and the close, right? So in the bullish, open and close, candles open at the bottom and the close at the top. And then obviously for bearish candles, All right. It's the exact opposite. I'm trying to draw this out for you guys to show you. Sheesh. I'll fix that in just a second, y'all. Come on now, the trend line. All right, so essentially, right, this is what we're looking at. And we're gonna make this other one red here. So you know the difference. All right. So bearish candles open at the top and they close at the bottom. This is all that we really want to focus on when we're looking at these very small candles, at these small body candles. When we're looking at these small body candles, we just want to focus on the relationship between the open and the close. Excuse me, I meant to put close here. We just want to look at the relationship between the open and the close, right? The open and the close. So we see here that we have a range of relatively small body candles, right? And we say these are relatively small body candles because the series of candles that preceded these candlesticks were larger expansion candles, right? These were larger expansion candles, okay? So taking a look back at price action, you will see that smaller body candles precede larger body expansions, right? So we start here just in this consolidation phase, right? You see here, we have a series of relatively small body candles, right? Relatively small body candles, and they lead to relatively larger body expansions down. Then we have what? Some more smaller body candles. We're not worried about the wicks. Disregard the wicks. Looking at these smaller body candles, they were larger expansions that happened afterwards into smaller body candles. Then we had larger body expansion. Another relatively larger body expansion. We would consider this actually an inside day because we're not worried about the wicks, but this was actually an inside day because the range, excuse me, not an inside day, this is an inside session, right? Because I'm looking at a 1 hour. This right here, the range of this candle stayed within the range of the previous candle. So these are still relatively larger bodies. Small body, relatively larger, right? A series of them, smaller body, larger body, smaller body, larger body. And you will notice a pattern, guys, here. As you even see here, before we had, in the middle of this displacement, right? What do we have? We had smaller body candles. Not worried about the wicks. This is just clearing up liquidity on a smaller time frame. Larger body wicks. And then what we had a large price expansion to the upside. And even checking back, before this large body expansion, we had a smaller body candle, a contraction candle. So what I see, a series of small candles, right? A relatively small body candles. I'm anticipating a larger price displacement. I'm anticipating a large body expansion candle to follow sometime in the near future. So what confirmed my bias for this, right? For one, I saw the smaller body candles. So I was expecting a larger range expansion to follow, right? The first thing I saw, right? The first thing I saw in price action. Well, excuse me. That's really like this. This really the second thing I saw in price action. So I'm actually going to notate my thought process here on this, right? So the first thing I noticed was consolidation. After a large displacement to the upside. Right. That was the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed was a series of small contracted candles, right? A series of small contracted candles. And why is that relevant? Because I know that small body candles precede large body candles, right? And essentially what does that mean? Right? Small contractions precede large expansions. All right. So I noticed consolidation. I noticed there was consolidation after a large displacement to the upside. And I saw a series of small contracted candles, right? And I know that large expansions come after small contractions, right? So being able to now incorporate the previous video, incorporate the concepts of the power of 3 into this, I want to really break it down. So when I got on and I seen the chart, right, I seen this accumulation after this move here to the upside, right? Okay. So honestly, the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, let's look for a pairing of orders. First thing that came to my mind was accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. The power of 3 came to my mind instantly, right? So the first thing I want to do was to look at this high, and I want to check this high, right, to see if there was a market maker pairing of orders, right? And the pairing of orders that we explained in the last presentation was that in a bullish scenario, right, the smart money, they bought down here, and they'll be looking to pair their orders, right? And who would they be looking to match or pair their orders with, right? They'll be looking to sell out of their long positions because they bought long here, right? They bought a discounted price, and they'll be looking to sell at a premium or a high rate. But who are they be looking to sell to? They'll be looking to sell to willing buyers, right? So they would match or pair their sell orders with that of pending buy interest, and we know that that exists in the form of buy stops, right? So the first thing I wanted to do was check to see if there was a pairing of orders here, right? I want to check to see if there's a pairing of orders here. Right? I want to see there's a pairing of orders here because I'm telling you how my thought process is going, and it happens very quickly because I'm able to see these things very quickly. I already saw that in the previous days, right? That based off the previous day's range, right? And this is because we're in the 12th now, so this was the 11th here, right? And we just notate that again here, 12, so I can find it here, right? This was the previous day's high here. This was the previous day's high here, right? And then I'll actually, let's do array. The previous day's high was here. Make that big so we can see it. Let's change the color so we can see that too. Let's make it blue. How about that? All right. So that was the previous day's high here. And then we have the previous day's low here. All right. This is the previous day's low. All right. So it's the previous day's low. It's the previous day's low. So what I wanted to confirm was that we had a pairing of orders here because we know that we've been looking at the pound Aussie, right? And we know that they're in this area, right? There's buy side liquidity at rest because remember in the previous video we were talking about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times that they've touched this area and have not traded through it. So we know that this was a pool of liquidity. I actually talked about this in the buy side and sell side liquidity in the intermediate videos. If you're not familiar, go back and rewatch it. But this was a large pool, right? A large pool of buy stop orders, right? It's a large pool of buy stop orders because you had support resistance traders who would see as many times they touched this line, right? About 3 times it touched this line, that would confirm it as a area of strong resistance. So they would have been selling short, and for the traders who had sold short here, they were gonna have to protect their short orders. How they protect their short orders? By having buy stops here. So in the event that price came back up here and it broke this level of quote unquote resistance, they would want to be able to catch the breakout or catch the continuation to the upside, right? So this is the pairing of orders that I was looking for smart money to sell out of long position, because they actually, I showed you zoomed in on the 1 hour that they bought up there, but we know that smart money bought down here, so they'll be looking to get out of long positions or buys that they got into down here at a premium, right? But who would be willing buyers? They would have to sell out of these long positions. So who would they sell to? They have to sell to willing buyers. Where do the willing buyers reside? The willing buyers reside up here in the form of buy stops. I don't know how this happens every single time I do it, but it happens. Right? Buy stops. Right? Buy stops are pending orders waiting to be activated willingly when the market reaches this area for continuation to the upside. All right. So I saw that there was I knew that there was a pairing of orders here. Right. So now that I can scroll in, I can go back here. So, okay, boom, power 3 instantly. What I thought about power 3, right? So I knew that there was a pairing of orders here, right? And we're in a typical power 3 scenario, right? There was accumulation down here. They repriced higher, right? We had a price expansion higher. Then we had a market maker pairing of orders, but they got out of long positions. So now this consolidation phase that caught my attention automatically clicked, and I knew, okay, this was an accumulation of short positions, right? Now I wasn't able to see the market when it did all this, or be able to get in up here. So I'm not going, or even here, right, at the previous day, or even here the day before, right? I'm not going to capture y'all. You feel me? Like when I came in, when I opened up the charts, I saw this. I was here in this area, right? So I had to take into consideration everything that I just spoke about just a second ago, right? So I mapped out the previous day's high, the previous day's low, knowing that we are in accumulation, right? And me anticipate an accumulation of sell orders, right? So I'm assuming that this was an accumulation of shorts and an accumulation of sell positions, right? By the algorithm, by smart money. And then I saw the series of small candles, right? So I instantly anticipated that price was going to sell. All right. Price is going to sell. I entered here around the 89 big figure level, right? 8906 to be specific, right? And I knew that here was a hidden order block. All right. I knew that there was a hidden order block here. So let's go down to the smaller time frame here. I knew that here was a hidden order block, and here we have it here, because I usually keep my chart set to the 30-minute or the 1 hour. So I knew that there was a hidden order block here, right? There was a hidden order block there. So that's kind of some sauce for you guys, right? So when you're on a higher time frame, right? And you see these areas that have, like you see these larger body candles and they have the wicks, right? Remember, that's a clearing of liquidity. So when liquidity is clear, it's also engineered into the market at the same time, right? So you know that's what the order block is, right? Engineered liquidity into the market. So I knew that there was a hidden order block here because I saw the wick. So that's where I want to have my stop loss here on my entry. So I have my stop losses right above here because I entered down here, right? But relative highs here. And knowing that there was a hidden order block here, I set my stop loss up here, right? We're talking about 26 pip stop loss to gain 50, to gain what? What's that? 106 pips on this first one, and there was 56 pips on the first entry, and there was a 100 pip move here on the second entry. And I actually called this trade in the enlightened signals. Again, make sure you have access to that. All right. And it looks like a TP smack to me. It was like a TP smack to me. You guys saw it live here on this presentation. So this is the confluence, right? And this is how I was able to come together, put together a bias using the power of 3 concept and price expansion, right? Using the power of 3 concept and price expansion. Again, series of small body candles and an accumulation of shorts after a pairing of orders. So we know that this was a distribution cycle, right? An accumulation of shorts after a full power 3 cycle. So again, always taking into consideration time and price. Time and price, because those should be the biggest factors and help you to determine your bias. It was around 10:30, right? This is GBP odd. So we were in the Asian session. So I was definitely looking for manipulation to happen here, right around this time. I was looking for that initial manipulation, right? That inducement of buyers. So that's why I have my SL just up here, right at the top of that hidden order block. And what happened, price came they manipulated very, very closely, inducing buyers. Manipulation ensued after the open. And what happened? We saw them reprice lower, running these equal lows here and running the previous day's low. And again, in the power 3 video, I showed you on a bullish scenario, how we're looking to attack the previous day's high. And we saw that here in the opposite and the reverse on a sell side run. All right, guys. So I hope I was able to further break down the power 3 concepts and how we can look to actually anticipate price, right? And then also by looking to anticipate price, being able to anticipate the intent and extent of price action. All right. So I hope you guys were able to gain some immense value from this. Always, guys, feel free to leave some feedback in the community, guys. Let us know what type of concepts that you want us to talk about, or maybe even some concepts that we have here that you want us to further go into detail about, and we'll be sure to get that for you. Until the next time, guys, peace.